This segment is brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Soybean Update.
This is the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Dr. Kevin Donnelly, professor of agronomy at Kansas State University, joins us. Dr. Donnelly, the Kansas State Fair recently took place, and they had a soybean plant judging competition that took place during the fair.
It's been a very popular exhibit, actually, in the crops division, and so the Kansas Soybean Commission sponsors that, and we were fortunate to be selected to judge, and so there is a good amount of premiums that are awarded for that as well.
Who were the winners of the maturity groups, and who was the overall champion?
Our results for this year, our overall champion was actually from the maturity group 3, Mindy Young from Lancaster. We did have more entries in the 4s, but it was an exceptional sample and probably moved it to the top. So the top winners in Class 3 were Mindy at Lancaster. The top winner in the Class 4 was Ray Ladd from Effingham.
What were the overall takeaway messages from this year's entries?
I think part of the challenge, both for selecting plants and for judging them, there's so much variability in soybean plants in a field down the row. A lot of that is influenced by plant population and so forth, and we're trying to judge these for visual display of what is a really robust plant. Those unfortunately may not always reflect final yield in the field because soybeans have a great ability to adjust. If they're at higher populations, they tend to be less branched plant. Even if there's good pod set, there's not necessarily a lot of pods per plant. If they're out by themselves, they turn into kind of a bushy tree and look like they have a lot more plants. So we kind of try to keep that in mind. You know, if we have a reasonable population, we should generally see a little bit of branching, and that gives us a little more robust plant with more pods per plant. For potential future contestants, probably pull up more than just 5 and kind of screen them looking for ones that are sort of uniform and have that good pod set. That's the main thing we're looking for.
And how did the soybean pods look this year?
We had some really nice samples. Good pod set all the way from bottom to top of the plant. We had a lot of drought stress early in the season, at least in some areas of the state, but some of the later ones maybe were a little short on pods toward the bottom, but even some of those are setting quite a bit now at the top. But we did have some really nice samples with good robust plants that had good pod set all the way up.
That's Dr. Kevin Donnelly, professor of agronomy at Kansas State University, who joins us on the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Learn more at kansassoybeans.org. For Kansas Soybeans, I'm Greg Akagi.
Hope you enjoyed this week's Kansas Soybean Update. Stay with us after the break for more with Greg Dowd as he finishes his talk on China and trade.
What if sustainability were synonymous with U.S. soy? If energy efficiency, water quality, and soil health help define U.S. soy's value, that future is here, the time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is committing to sustainability that's achievable, worthwhile, and enduring. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.